The shadows of the past often whisper the names of those lost, echoing through the halls of justice and the quiet corners of our memories. Some shadows are darker than others, stained with acts of unimaginable cruelty. Today, we delve into one such darkness, a case that continues to haunt us decades later: the crimes of Theodore Robert Bundy. This isn't just a story about a serial killer. It's a story about the lives he extinguished, the communities he shattered, and the lingering questions that remain. The name Ted Bundy has become synonymous with evil, a chilling reminder of the capacity for darkness that can exist behind a charming facade. He was a master manipulator, a man who expertly crafted an image of normalcy while harboring a monstrous secret. His victims, primarily young women, were lured by his charisma, his perceived vulnerability, and his ability to blend seamlessly into society. Understanding Bundy necessitates acknowledging the vulnerabilities of his victims and the devastating impact of his crimes. The victims of Ted Bundy were beautiful, bright young women, college students, and others who were simply going about their daily lives. Each one had a life ahead of her, dreams, aspirations, and loved ones who would miss them dearly. The first confirmed victim, Linda and Healy, a University of Washington student, disappeared in Seattle in 1974. Her disappearance marked the beginning of a wave of terror that would grip the Pacific Northwest, a region of dense forests and misty coastlines that would tragically become the hunting grounds for Bundy's depravity. Then there was Susan Rancourt and Donna Gail Manson. Both also disappeared, vanishing without a trace from college campuses. After leaving the state of Washington, Bundy struck in Utah and Colorado, claiming the lives of several more young women. Among them was Karen Campbell, a nurse from Michigan, whose disappearance while on vacation in Snowmass, Colorado, sent shockwaves through the resort town. The names of these victims, like the echoes of their lives, resonate with us today, each a poignant reminder of the human cost of Bundy's actions. The names are imprinted in our memories, forever tied to the legacy of fear and loss. Georgianne Hawkins, Brenda Ball, Janice Ott, Denise Naslund, and so many others whose promising futures were abruptly and brutally cut short. The timeline of Bundy's crimes is a chilling testament to his cunning and the tragic gaps in early law enforcement techniques. The murders began in Washington state in 1974 and continued, with the victims' numbers growing throughout the mid-1970s. Bundy, a master of disguise and deception, often used his charm to lure women to his car, a seemingly harmless Volkswagen Beetle, which became his weapon of opportunity. He would feign injury, asking for help carrying books or a briefcase, or present himself as someone needing assistance, expertly manipulating his targets. One notorious tactic involved faking a broken arm, using crutches to appear helpless and gain their trust. Once they were in his grasp, the outcome was often fatal. The bodies of his victims were often dumped in remote, wooded areas, making the search for them complex and challenging for authorities. These desolate landscapes, often miles from any inhabited area, offered Bundy the isolation he craved for his gruesome acts. As he moved from state to state, the scope of his crimes increased, leaving a trail of grief and terror in his wake, as disparate police departments struggled to connect the dots and apprehend the elusive killer. Bundy's capture and trials were theatrical events. He initially evaded capture, escaping from custody twice, demonstrating his resourcefulness and his chilling lack of regard for the law. His first escape, from a courthouse library in Aspen, Colorado, involved him leaping from a second-story window. His second escape, from a Colorado jail, was even more audacious, allowing him to flee to Florida, where he would commit some of his most brutal murders. His trials, particularly in Florida, captured national attention, turning courtrooms into spectacles. He acted as his own attorney at times, using his legal knowledge and charisma to try to sway the jury, a bold and unsettling move that further cemented his manipulative persona. He would often behave erratically, but his underlying intelligence and strategic thinking were undeniable. Despite his efforts, the overwhelming weight of the evidence, including eyewitness accounts and forensic findings, led to his convictions. He was found guilty of multiple counts of murder and sentenced to death. Even from behind bars, Bundy continued to taunt law enforcement and the families of his victims. He offered confessions, but often with calculated manipulations and the interviews he gave, particularly to journalist Stephen Michaud and psychologist Robert Keppel, offered chilling insights into his twisted mind. These interviews were both riveting and disturbing, revealing his lack of remorse and a distorted perception of his actions. He would change his story, offering little genuine closure to those who had suffered so much. The knowledge of how many victims there were, the pain they must have endured, and the lasting effects on their families remained a torment. The sheer number of victims, a figure still debated but estimated to be in the dozens, is a stark testament to his predatory nature. Ted Bundy's execution in Florida in 1989 brought an end to his reign of terror, yet the impact of his crimes continues to resonate today. The families of his victims were left with an emptiness that could never be fully filled. The grief, the loss, and the unanswered questions are a heavy burden that they carry to this day. Imagine the agonizing wait for Linda and Healy's parents, the agonizing hope followed by crushing despair as each lead went cold. Consider the devastation of Karen Campbell's family. Their vacation turned into an unimaginable nightmare. Their pain, though decades old, remains a raw wound. The legacy of Ted Bundy continues to be debated. His crimes have raised crucial questions about the justice system, the psychology of evil, and the need for awareness and protection. The case has highlighted the importance of better communication between law enforcement agencies across state lines and the crucial role of forensic science in solving crimes, advancements that were still in their infancy during Bundy's reign. The impact on the lives of his victims continues to motivate us to remember them, to learn from the past, and to strive for a society where such horrific acts are prevented. In the wake of Bundy's crimes, the public became more aware of the dangers that can lurk in the shadows, the seemingly ordinary person capable of extraordinary evil. The case prompted discussions about personal safety, dating violence, and the importance of trusting your instincts. Movies, books, and documentaries have been made about the case, which continue to capture the world's imagination, helping to keep his crimes alive and serve as a perpetual warning. Each retelling brings the victims back to our minds, remembering the horrific acts that occurred, ensuring they are not forgotten. The current status of this case is closed. Ted Bundy, the perpetrator, is deceased. However, the wounds of his crimes will never truly heal. The families of the victims continue to struggle with their grief, carrying the weight of their loss for the rest of their lives. The psychological impact on the victims and the families of his victims and the community that was affected is significant. The impact of Ted Bundy's crimes is still felt to this day, a dark stain on the fabric of American criminal history. In the end, Ted Bundy's story is not just a tale of a serial killer. It's a story about the fragility of life, the darkness of human nature, and the enduring power of the human spirit to survive and remember. It's a reminder that the shadows of evil can lurk anywhere, and that we must remain vigilant in protecting ourselves and our communities. Let the names of his victims be a constant reminder of the price of evil and the importance of justice. Let their stories inspire us to be better, to be more empathetic, and to never forget the lives that were stolen.